Welcome, foolish mortals. There's no turning back now.
Welcome, foolish mortals. How's everybody's week going? I hope that it's a good one. So far, I know it's only Wednesday, so we're, hump day. So hope that you're having a good week so far and that the rest of the week is great. Hopefully it's a little bit better now that you're listening to me talk about Disney. Welcome to the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. I am your ghost host, Kristen, and this is the podcast where we talk about all things Disney. Not just Disney parks, not just Disney travel, not just Disney movies, all things Disney. If it's Disney related, you know that I'm going to talk about it because you know me. If it's a Disney life, then I'm a happy wife. Like I said before, I hope you guys are having a great week. Last week, we put out an episode. I always say we. I don't know why. I put out an episode. It was the very first shorty episode. And in that, I talked about, it had been a while since the last, full episode on Disney Life Happy Wife. So I was kind of explaining what was going on and what you can look forward to in the upcoming weeks. If you haven't checked that out, check it out. I won't go into too much of what I said from that, but it definitely feels like it has been forever since my last full-length episode of Disney Life Happy Wife. So I am so happy to be back and giving you guys a full episode. It's going to be a long one, so buckle up. Buckle up and, sit in and get comfy. It's going to be a long one. I know we usually go about 30 to 45 minutes. It's probably going to be about an hour because this episode is going to be about my recent trip to Disney World. For those of you who don't know, the family, me and the fam, we just went to Disney in February and we had a great time. We spent 10 days in Walt Disney World and it was such a great trip. I am so happy we went and we relaxed and we had fun. It was a little rough at times because, Em was just getting over being sick. I was just getting over a little bit of being sick, and Will unfortunately was still sick the whole time we were there. And of course, with the plane and the pressure and everything, his ears were bothering him while we were there. So I felt super bad for him about that. But he pulled through and he mustered through even though he wasn't feeling great. So I definitely, commend him for that. It's tough, going to Disney and not feeling your best, but you just kind of have to suck it up and deal with it. Nobody wants to, go to urgent care instead of spending the day in Disney. I know he definitely didn't want to do that. So I think he did a great job. I think he was great even though he wasn't feeling great. So 10 days in Disney. We were there from February 3rd to February 12th. And I know that I had planned to do some shorty episodes while we were there. Of course, it didn't happen. Things get away from us and it's Disney. We were busy. So sorry, guys. But this episode is going to be all about the trip. I'll give you the ups and the downs and the goods and the bads and my whole thoughts. So yeah, there we go. So, like I said, goods, bads, all of that. Now, we usually go to Disney at the end of January, beginning of February, because it is less crowded. Now, if you go at the beginning of the year, you know that it is the times that are best to go. So in February, if you're going like mid-February, we'll say those 2 weeks that are mid-February. If you're going then, chances are you're going to hit some busy times because that is usually February vacation for those states and schools that have February vacation. So parents are taking their kids to Disney. It's a great time to go because the weather is so wonderful. I know that, a couple of days that we were there, it got close to 90 degrees, which from Rhode Island, being from Rhode Island, it was freezing here. So we had a very mild winter. It's not spring yet, so I'm going to knock on wood. But it's not spring yet, but I'll say we had a very mild winter. It was, I mean, I don't even know how many real snowstorms we had, or that you can qualify as snowstorms. Did it snow? Yes, of course. It's Rhode Island. But it really wasn't that bad. I don't think M had any snow days. I don't know about other schools, but I mean, M's daycare is usually really great about being open. I don't know that she had any delayed starts or anything like that. So yeah, it was a very mild winter. But going from Rhode Island to Orlando, Florida, it was just, the weather was just amazing. It was so great to be in shorts and t-shirts, and we needed sweatshirts sometimes in the morning because it was, on the chillier side in the morning. But other than that, it was so great. I absolutely loved it. And we were there for 10 whole days. So enjoying the beautiful warm weather. Em and I went swimming one day. It was great. 10 days. And we usually only do 8 days. If you know us, you know our trips are usually 8 days. 8 days, 7 nights in Disney. And, that's usually our comfort zone. But this time we decided we were going to tack on 2 more days. Will hadn't had a real vacation in, I'm trying to think about it. Maybe it was 2 years since our last Disney trip, a year and a half. So he needed it. He needed the vacation. Usually when we tell people that we go to Disney once a year, they're like, how do you do that? Well, I tell them this is Will's real vacation, his only vacation for the year. Emily and I are lucky enough that we get away probably 1 or 2 more times during the year, whether it's just like a long weekend or, we usually go to the beach or during the summer for like a week with the family. But, this is his only vacation. This is the only time he takes time off work. It's his slow time. I say slow in quotation marks because it's really never slow for him, but that's like his slow period. So it's really his only vacation. So we decided to tack on 2 more days. And we stayed on property like we usually do. If you know us, I mean, the first time Will and I went to Disney World together was our honeymoon. And we stayed off property. And we didn't go to Disney again until Em was 10 months old. So that was a good couple of years in between honeymoon and our next trip. And we stayed on property that time, our first time with Em. And, knowing what I know now about booking trips and, all the things that come with booking trips, park tickets, dining plan, all that kind of stuff, it's so much better to stay on property. So we always do. And this time, staying on property was our first time staying in a deluxe resort. If you're familiar with Disney properties and Disney resorts, you know that Walt Disney World has 3 different tiers of resorts. They have value, moderate, and deluxe. And we were lucky enough to get an amazing deal. And we stayed at our very first deluxe resort, and we could not have been happier about it. We stayed at, drumroll please, I don't know if you can hear that, Animal Kingdom Lodge. We stayed at Jambo House, not Kidani Village. There are 2 parts to Animal Kingdom Lodge, Jambo House, and Kidani Village. We were in the main building, which was Jambo House, like I said. We had a Savannah View room. Now, Will and I had always said that if we stay in Animal Kingdom Lodge, the only way we're going to do it is if we have a Savannah View room. So that was pretty, important to us. If we were going to spend that kind of money to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, we wanted to make sure we were getting the best room that we could, besides, the really big like suites and stuff like that, which we didn't need that room. So we wanted to make sure we had Savannah View, that we could look out our window and see animals, and that's exactly what we got. So 10 days in Animal Kingdom Lodge. We did an 8-day park hopper ticket for this time. So I'm always glad that we do park hopper. Sometimes we don't hop. We stay in one park all day and we don't go anywhere else. But this time we did end up hopping. So I was so glad that we had that. And we only did 8 days. I know I said we were in Disney for 10, but we only did 8 days. The first day that we were there, we didn't go to a park. We just kind of hung out at the hotel. We ended up taking a super long nap before we had to go to dinner. Maybe not super long, but we ended up, all three of us ended up taking a nap before we headed out to dinner. And one day in the middle of the week, we took the day just to kind of hang out and stuff like that. And Em and I went swimming that day. Will got some rest, so it was really great. I definitely recommend, if you're going for a long period of time, and I say that as like 8 days or 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever. If you're going for a long period of time, I definitely recommend having rest days, because being on the go all the time in the park, so much to do, so much to see, you know, all like that. I definitely think that it is worth it to have those rest days in your plans. And besides having that break, what else did we have in our trip? So we definitely got the memory maker. For those who don't know, all of the photographers that are around the parks and other places, they are PhotoPass photographers. The pictures that they take on rides and all of that, you know, you tap your band and you can get those pictures. If you don't buy the memory maker, you also get a deal if you do it ahead of time. But if you don't get the memory maker, you have to pay for those pictures. And it's way more expensive to pay for the pictures afterwards than it is to get those pictures. And the pictures that they take are awesome. And more times than not, you know, you'll get a photographer that'll be like, let me put a little bit of Disney magic in there for you. So it's so worth it to get the memory maker. I'm so glad that we did, because I think this is the first time ever that we got family pictures in every single park. We have Magic Kingdom, we have Epcot, we have Hollywood Studios, and we have Animal Kingdom. So I'm so glad that we did it. I can't wait to get I don't want to say big frame, but I can't wait to get a frame so I can have pictures of the 4 park, you know, family pictures. I have a space on my wall for it, so I'm very excited about that. And then it comes down to dining. Of course we got the dining plan. We always get the dining plan. Some people, either you're pro dining plan or you're anti-dining plan. Some people are just completely against it. They think it is way too expensive and there's way too much. They come home with credits or leave the parks with credits. And it's like, I don't understand how they do that. But I mean, I don't think we ever leave with credits. This time we actually did get close with our snack credits, but we never leave with food credits, like with dining credits. And we are very pro dining plan. And we usually do, and you'll think we're crazy, we usually do the deluxe dining plan. And we did that this time. For those who don't know, the deluxe dining plan is three table service dining credits per night and 2 snacks per night. And it's a lot of food. I won't say that it's not. It's a lot of food. And you kind of have to plan it out wisely. And we did that this time. And we realized that it's a lot of food. So we did, a lot of the time, we did a breakfast, snack during the day, and then did a signature dinner. And there were only 2 days that I think we didn't do that. And those were our Epcot days, because there are so many amazing restaurants in Epcot that we were like, yeah, we gotta, you know, have 3 meals that day. So yeah. So sounds like a great trip, right? I know, it was amazing. So let me break it down a little bit more for you and talk a little bit more in detail. So like I said, our resort, our very first deluxe as a family, was the Disney Animal Kingdom Lodge. We stayed at Jumbo House. It was such a major score for us. We got such a great deal. So they were running, I don't remember exactly what the deal was called. I feel like it was like the Fun and Sun or something like that deal. And it was something like you got 20 to 25% off your stay, depending on where you were staying, depending on whether it was a value, moderate, or Deluxe resort, you got a certain amount off your stay. And if you stayed a certain number, like I think if it was 6 nights or over, you ended up getting a gift card too. How awesome is that? You get 25% off your stay, and you get a gift card. And you get a gift card? Seriously? That's amazing. So I saw that offer, and I immediately said to my husband, I was like, we need to do this. So we did the offer, and we changed. We originally had planned to stay at a different Deluxe, the Wilderness Lodge, and we changed it over to Animal Kingdom Lodge and stayed in the Savannah View room. It was so worth it. I absolutely loved it. One of the things that I liked the most was the fact that we were in one building. Now, for those who don't know, in a lot, I think it's pretty much all of the values, you can tell me I'm wrong, a lot of the values or all of the values, there is one main building that has the dining and the store and concierge front desk, and then there are different buildings where all of the rooms are. And I think a lot of the moderates are like that as well. And that one main building, there are no hotel or resort rooms. In Animal Kingdom Lodge, in the main building, in Jumbo House, you are in just that building that has, your restaurants, your store, your arcade, laundry, all of that in one building with the resort rooms. So it was so nice to, get back to the resort at the end of the day and not have to walk a mile to find my room. It was really nice. I loved that aspect of it. And it was so great to be able to go to our room, especially on the first day that we were there. We went to our room when it was open, and to look out the window, go onto our little balcony and look out and to see animals. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. And we spent a good amount of time that first day just standing there and watching the animals and looking to see what animals that we could see. And they give you a guide that you can check off and check and see what animals. I know we saw giraffes, we saw wildebeest, we saw Ankole cattle, flamingos, and so much more. In different parts of the resort, you could see different animals. We saw zebras in another part. We saw gazelles and different four-legged creatures. Now, there are no, big cats or elephants or stuff like that. So it's a lot of, we'll call them, I don't want to say horse-like, but we'll say that, animals at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And there's lots of birds. So we got to see a lot of that. It was really great. Em loved it. And being a mother of an animal-loving kid, it's just a dream. Em talks a lot about what she wants to be when she grows up, and that really is something to do with animals. She now says after this trip that she wants to be an animal specialist with Walt Disney World. She wants to work there. She wants to work in Magic Kingdom and in Animal Kingdom. Now she wants to be the otter keeper at Animal Kingdom because she loves otters, and she wants to be the Disney duck keeper. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Disney ducks in Magic Kingdom are wild ducks. There is nobody that takes care of those ducks, as far as I know. If I am wrong, please tell me. But there's nobody that takes care of those ducks. They are pretty much fed off like the scraps from people and, that are on the ground and stuff like that, and bugs and whatever. As far as I know, they are not, fed and taken care of by the Disney company, people that work there. So, but Em wants that to be her job. She wants to take care of the otters in Animal Kingdom, and she wants to take care of the Disney ducks in Magic Kingdom. So back to Animal Kingdom Lodge. So besides the amazing view and all of the animals that you see at Animal Kingdom Lodge, there are 3 wonderful restaurants in Jumbo House. And there's a 4th table service over in Kidani Village. And we were lucky enough to eat at those 3 restaurants. And they can certainly satisfy the palate of any person, even my picky eater. So we were very lucky with that. And so with all of those amazing options for dining, it's a wonder that, you even need to leave your hotel. So besides that, there's an arcade, there is a kids room. Parents could pretty much, parents and kids could go to the room, and there are crafts to do and movies to watch. It's super cool. I wanted to go there so many times, and we just didn't have time to really kind of hang out there. So, yeah, unfortunately, maybe if we stay there again, we'll get time to go hang out. So besides that, there's an arcade, a kids room. There is a awesome playground, the Hakuna Matata playground. Em loved it. We went there more than once. There is a great pool area with a water slide. And it was Em's first time going down a water slide. And she loved it. She loved it until she dunked herself underwater. And then she was like, yep, I'm not doing that again. I was like, oh, bummer. Okay, well, that was her choice. And, of course, they have, a laundry room, which we actually used. I was surprised. I think the way that I packed so we would definitely do laundry once. But it was great to have that there. And let's see, what else about Animal Kingdom Lodge? There's just so much to see and do and eat when you're there. It's great if you have an off day from the parks. You have a rest day. There's so much to do there. And so much to, take in, that if you don't necessarily want to nap, you just kind of want to hang out and, do resort stuff. There's so much to keep you entertained there. It's a great resort. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a great deluxe for kids and your kids love animals, definitely check out Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's worth the money to stay there. So, with that being said about Animal Kingdom Lodge, let's not forget the big draw to Walt Disney World, the parks. We went to all 4 major parks. We went to Magic Kingdom 3.5 times. We'll say 3.5 days we were in Magic Kingdom. Epcot was pretty much a day and a half. Hollywood Studios was a day and a half. 2 days, I guess we'll say. And Animal Kingdom was only 1 day. We made it to Disney Springs for 1 night. We had planned to go for a little bit longer, but we ended up only getting there pretty much in time for dinner. And just went to dinner and went back. Clearly, Magic Kingdom was our favorite park. We spend as much time as we can in Magic Kingdom. We absolutely love it. We rode all of the rides that we love and then some in our parks. I was able to ride my 2 favorite rides more than once. I rode Haunted Mansion and Toy Story Midway Mania with the family and by myself. So I was a very happy girl. I even got a higher score than my husband on Toy Story Mania. So I was very happy about that. I feel like it was like a 500,000 point. Was it that? I don't know. But I got a higher score than my husband on that and the Buzz Lightyear ride from Magic Kingdom. So I was very excited about that. And Emily got to go on a new roller coaster, new for her, this trip. She went on Big Thunder Mountain for the very first time. And I was hesitant because I know that it's more intense than any coaster she's been on. So I was like, oh, I don't know if she's going to like it. And my husband kept saying, she can do Slinky Dog. If she can do Slinky Dog, she can do this. It's fine. She'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And she went on it. And the first time she went on it, it was nighttime. It's in the dark. And I was like, okay, if you think she can do it, go ahead. And Guess what? She loved it. You ask her what her favorite ride is in Walt Disney World now, it is Big Thunder Mountain. She absolutely loved it. It's now her favorite ride. She went on it more than once, and she did it in the dark. I'm so proud of her. Emily doesn't like doing dark rides, which we found out this time, and the fact that she went on this ride while it was dark out just blows my mind. I am so proud of her. And like I said, she doesn't like rides that are dark, which we found out this time. So if you ask her what her favorite rides are, she's going to tell you the roller coasters. She loves, the Barnstormer and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Slinky Dog, and now Big Thunder Mountain. She absolutely loves them. She loves going fast. She loves the excitement of them. So those are her favorite rides. I don't like roller coasters. But my favorite rides are Toy Story Mania, which is, we won't say it's dark, but it's got the 3D effect. She hated it this time. And my other favorite ride is Haunted Mansion, which is dark, and it can be a little bit spooky for kids, I guess. I think it's more silly than spooky, and Em was not a fan. So if you ask her what her least favorite rides are, it's my two favorite rides. So that was kind of a bummer. Another first for Em on this trip was that she met and took pictures with the Disney princes by herself. She will say, Mommy, you lied to me. And I did not lie to her. I just didn't get the opportunity. I did not lie to her. I told her that I would jump in a couple of times for the Disney Prince pictures, and I never got the opportunity. So she did it by herself, and I am so proud of her that she did it. She even got a picture and had a conversation with my favorite Disney prince all by herself. She was talking about having a puppy play date with Prince Eric and Max, and I was like, whoa, can Mommy come on this play date? But she met so many characters while we were there, so the fact that she jumped in and took pictures with Disney princes by herself was awesome. She filled up, I think it was like 2.5 autograph books with autographs from characters. We were just taking pictures with characters and getting all of that so many times. It was so great. She's definitely a very lucky kid. So we had so much fun in Magic Kingdom. Of course, we saw the shows and stuff that they have there, and Festival of Fantasy. We actually sat all the way through Festival of Fantasy this time, and of course Em was waving to the characters like crazy, and that was really great. We didn't do any of the fireworks shows because Em doesn't like fireworks, but we loved it. And of course, Magic Kingdom is, I feel like if you ask anybody, they'll say that their favorite park is Magic Kingdom. There's just so much to do and so much to see. In Magic Kingdom, we always take more than one day to, do Magic Kingdom. So it was great. We love Magic Kingdom. Now let's hop over to Epcot. Epcot, we did, I think, like 1.5 days. We had originally had 2 days booked, but we ended up hopping over to Magic Kingdom, I guess. So in Epcot, we spent a lot of time in the World Showcase. And for the full day that we were there, we spent so much time in the World Showcase. I think we were in the World Showcase the whole time. And we walked, and we were in every single country. We spent time in every single country that we were there. And it was really great. We did KidCot while we were there. For those who don't know what KidCot is you go to every single country, you have a passport, it gets stamped, you do activities, they have a coloring activity, and you can talk to people from every country, and they'll tell you things about the country. It's so great. And it was just so amazing to see the different parts of the countries that we went to. And also, while we were there in the World Showcase, It was, well, in Epcot itself, it was the Festival of the Arts while we were there. So it was really cool to see the different art aspects that they had there. There were people that did kind of like, I'm going to say sidewalk chalk, but chalk drawings on the ground. Amazing. And they had this big mural that people could do, could add color to. So it's like you're part of the Festival of the Arts. It was so awesome. And one thing that they had there was a scavenger hunt that involved Figment, and you went around the World Showcase for the scavenger hunt. And they had stickers that you had to place in certain areas on a little board. And besides doing Kid Caught, we also did the Figment scavenger hunt. And you had to look for Figment in these famous paintings in different countries, and he was in the painting. So you went to different countries and looked for these paintings, and in there, in the paintings, you were looking for Figment's face, and you would, find that sticker on your board and place it there. And then at the end, you would go, I think they had 2 different places where you could take your final board once it was finished, and you would get a prize. So we got our prize. We had no idea what it was, and it was a Figment puzzle. And little puzzle had Figment on it. It celebrated the Festival of the Arts. It was so great. Emily loves puzzles, so it was perfect prize for her. Of course, she's walking in there thinking she's going to get a toy, but she still loved her puzzle. So currently in Epcot, they are going through a lot of construction, which is why we had, 1.5 days instead of 2 full days in Epcot. The construction was a lot. So we did our first full day in the World Showcase, and we got to spend a lot of time there. And instead of spending our second full day in Future World, because there's so much construction and there are rides that are down, and other rides that normally wouldn't have huge wait times had huge wait times. So instead of spending all of that time, we decided to, cut that short, and we headed over to Magic Kingdom. So with all that construction going on, we did end up spending a whole lot of time in the World Showcase, which was great because, a lot of people forget that there's so much to do in the World Showcase. And we got to explore, nooks and crannies of those countries that we never had before. So it was really great, and we had a lot of fun in Epcot this trip. So next, before I go over to Hollywood Studios, I'm going to talk about Animal Kingdom. So we only spent 1 day in Animal Kingdom, and that's usual for us. We usually only spend 1 day there, and we actually got to Epcot before it was open, thanks to our breakfast reservation, and it was great to walk through and see some of the sites that other people were kind of held back from, and to see the different things as we made our way over to Tusker House for our breakfast reservation. And we spent the day in Animal Kingdom exploring the park, seeing all the animals. We saw all the animals. And we went on rides, we saw the shows, and we met characters, and she was able to see my favorite chipmunks. We saw Chip and Dale, and they were dressed in dinosaur costumes, which was so cool. They have a meet and greet over in Dinoland USA, and it's kind of hidden. If you don't know where it is, ask a cast member, and usually the wait time isn't very long. So it's definitely worth it. I loved that she got to see them. We never get to see Chip and Dale, so I was super excited that she got to see them. We explored every aspect of Animal Kingdom. It was great. We spent a good amount of time in Dinoland USA, and Will rode, I feel like it's called Triceratops Spin, and yeah, it's kind of like Dumbo and Magic Carpets. So Em loves those 2 rides, so I was like, definitely ride it. And there are, for people who don't know, going into Dinoland USA, there are 2 rides. Primeval Whirl is still down. I have no idea why. And the Triceratops Spin, those are the 2 rides. They also have the Boneyard, which is this like dinosaur excavation playground. They have a part where is kind of like a sandbox that looks more like gravel than a sandbox. But they have, you can dig and all this kind of stuff. And that was probably M's favorite part about Animal Kingdom, besides seeing the animals. She loved being in there. There's another part that's, climbing and slides and playground-esque. So she loved that. If you were to ask her probably what her favorite parts from Animal Kingdom, she'd probably say it was the Boneyard and seeing the otters. So obviously, like I said, M's a big lover of otters. If we're in any place that has animals and they have otters, M's got to see the otters. And we obviously saw the shows. If you know Animal Kingdom, you know they have amazing shows there. They have our favorite show in all of Disney World, Festival of the Lion King. We see it every time. We always make a fast pass for it. We see it every time we go. If you have not seen Festival of the Lion King, you need to see it. It's so good. It's the best show in all of Walt Disney World. Go see it if you have not seen it. We also have another favorite show there, Up the Great Bird Adventure. I believe that's the title. Is so awesome. And if you don't like birds, don't go. Like, if you're scared of birds, I know a couple of people that are, do not go. Because I'm going to say you get up close and personal with birds. They're not that up close, but they fly overhead and they fly low. So if you don't like birds, don't go, because it does deal with birds. Em is not a huge fan of big birds, we'll say. And they do have a vulture that's there that Em was kind of like, whoa, about. But they have a bald eagle in the show, and that was amazing to see. And they have owls, and they had this one bird who could sing, and he sang "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?" And Em freaked out because that was one of her songs last year for her dance recital. So she freaked out about that, and we love that show. We were kind of sad that we didn't get to see the Finding Nemo musical, and we love that show, but we just didn't have time for it. And like all the parks, there's so much to see and do here, but we usually condense Animal Kingdom into one day. And we still did get to go through Pandora. It was kind of more of a walkthrough. We didn't have fast passes for either of the rides. I think the Banshee Ride is a little bit much for Em now. I know it would be too much for me. I have a friend who has been on it, and she said that if you are prone to motion sickness, you probably should not ride it. So I was like, yep, that's a no for me. But we did not get on the Navi River journey this time, but we still managed to walk through Pandora, which I love Pandora. So I got my favorite Animal Kingdom snack there, the Night Blossom drink. I love it. It's my favorite, so I love going there. We always have such a great time in Animal Kingdom. You know, so much to do with animals and so much to do with, they do a lot with the Lion King there, and I just love it. Em loves it, so we always make sure that we get at least one full day in Animal Kingdom. And there actually was a scavenger hunt there that we did, and it was great to have activities like in Epcot with KidCot and their Festival of the Arts scavenger hunt, and the scavenger hunt that they had in Animal Kingdom. It's great to have those kind of activities for little kids. Emily was so excited about it, and she was so excited about looking for things. And if she needed a hint or needed a clue on where to find them, at first she was a little bit shy, but she started to have no problem going up to a cast member and being like, where's this? And can you give me a clue? And can you give me a hint? It was really cute. So we loved it. Great day in Animal Kingdom. So now we will get to the big park. I say big park, I mean Magic Kingdom is is the biggest park. But the park that is growing the most and adding the most new stuff is Hollywood Studios. We spent a day and a half, 2 days in Hollywood Studios. This park, like I said, is growing and changing so much. And last year, I think it was Toy Story Land. When they added that was the big draw. And now they have added Galaxy's Edge, the land of Star Wars, to Hollywood Studios. It's officially open. Both rides are open. And there's just so much. I was in awe as we walked into Galaxy's Edge. Just the visuals and the detail that they put in to this land. And you know that they have to go all out when going into Star Wars. If they're going to build a land that's dedicated to Star Wars, they have to go all out with the visuals and the details. It's amazing. It really was like nothing I've ever seen before. It's incredible. If you are planning to go to Disney anytime soon, you definitely need to check it out. We didn't ride any of the rides. Emma's not a huge Star Wars fan. It wasn't until after we got home that she actually wanted to watch the movies. So we've watched, I think she's watched up through the first, I guess the first 4, depending on how you watch the movies, which I guess we can get into in another episode. So we watched them in chronological order. I guess not episode order, but chronological order of when they came out, which really, in my thoughts, should be the way that they should be watched. I don't think you need to watch them in episode, but yeah. So yeah, with Em not being a huge Star Wars fan, we were like, yeah, we're not gonna ride the rides. We're not gonna try this time. So maybe another time. Maybe if she's a huge Star Wars fan, by the time that we go next time, we'll ride some rides. But we'll see. What we did do while we were there is we did make the time to build some droids. And it is such a cool experience. They have 2 different experiences. You can build a little droid, and you can do a BB or an R2. And they have another experience where you can build a lightsaber. Now, the cost of these, you have to know they're expensive. Building a droid in itself was, with tax and everything, a little over $100 for one. We built 2. We built one for Em and one for her cousin. And it's an experience. Building a droid is definitely an experience. But like I said, it's an expensive experience. I know that building a lightsaber is more expensive than building a droid. So if you're not huge, like I need the lightsaber, go with the droid if you're going to do one of those 2 experiences. So like I said, it's a little over $100 for one, and that's with tax. But doing it is so cool. So I definitely recommend making an appointment. It doesn't cost anything to make an appointment. It's not a fast pass, but it's an appointment to be there. You kind of jump ahead of the line. It's like a fast pass, but it's not. You jump ahead of the line, and you get into the line to make it. They have this big conveyor belt. You pick which one you're going to do. You're going to do an R2 or you're going to do a BB. We did 2 BBs. If you're not familiar with what BB is, it's a, BB-8. He's the little ball droid that rolls around. We did BBs, one for Em and one for her cousin. And when you make the appointment, what I didn't know is that the number that you say, I thought it was number of people in your party. It's really number of droids that you're going to build. So I made an appointment for 3, thinking that it was 3 people, but it was 3 droids. So like, oh, so you're going to make 3. I was like, oh, no, we're going to make 2. I thought that was number of people. And they're like, nope, usually it is, if you're going to make 1 droid, it's 1 person and they can have somebody with them. I'm like, oh, cool, good to know for future purposes if we ever make any more droids. And so you go in, and once you're called up, you go to this big conveyor belt, and it has all the different pieces that you need to make your droid. and they give you a basket, and on the basket it tells you what pieces you need. So we went through and we collected the pieces we needed to make our droids, and then once you're done, you go into another line and you're called up by droid. So Will and Em had M's droid and I had my niece's droid, and they called us up. Em and Will went to one and I went to another, and you put your droid together. Now, you think that you're going to be handing this over to somebody and they're going to put your droid together. No. They tell you what you need to do to build your droid. So you're putting things together, you're putting, tubes on that have to go on in the middle of your droid. You turn things on, you screw things together, you connect the magnets that are in it. It's so cool. It's very hands-on. I didn't expect it because I was one of those people that thought, I'm just going to hand this over and they're going to do it. Nope. You do it. It's so cool. If you buy a personality chip, you can buy chips for your droid and they'll put those in. We didn't buy personality chips. I'm kind of wishing we did, but we didn't. And they'll do that for you and activate it, everything. And they show you where the reset is, where the on and off switch is. They tell you, where the batteries are, how much batteries you're going to need, and all of that. They show you how to use the remote because it's not evident on the remote how to use it. So they show you how to do it. So it was really cool. I got videos and all that of Em maneuvering her droid. I did not do any of that with my nieces. I got a picture of it so I could send it to my brother, but it was really cool. So Em knows how to use it. So next time we visit my brother and his family in Tennessee, Em is going to show my niece how to use the droid. I haven't sent it to her yet, so I want to bring it with us when we go. So besides the rides and the droids and the visuals of Star Wars, of Galaxy's Edge, the one thing that we didn't know is that there will be times when you're walking that literally stormtroopers will walk by you. There's kind of like a show type thing that they have there, and Kylo Ren is there and stormtroopers. And we were at a station. Disney now has water bottle filling stations. We were there filling up our water bottles, and Kylo Ren and the stormtroopers walked right by us. Literally, I could have reached out and touched them. And Em was petrified of them. She thought they were going to come over and they were going to be mean to her, and she was so scared. And she was like shaking. She was so scared. And I would step right in front of her and be like, no, it's all right. So that was the only drawback of Hollywood Studios is that of Galaxy's Edge is that Em was so scared. I was like, it's okay. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to be mean to you. Mommy won't let them. But yeah, so that was the only drawback of Galaxy's Edge. It's amazing. Definitely go see it if you're going to Disney. It's definitely worth it. So definitely go see it. Besides that, Toy Story Land is always a big hit for us. We love Toy Story. Em loves Toy Story. And she rode every single ride in Toy Story Land. There's 3 rides. She rode them all. She wasn't a huge fan of Toy Story Mania. There's parts of the 3D that she does not like. So she wasn't a huge fan of that. But she rode Slinky Dog and the alien swirling saucers. She loved that. So she was like, Mommy, you should ride it with me. And I'm like, I don't know. But she loved it. She rode all 3 of the rides. So did my husband. I did not. I went on Toy Story Mania, and that was it. That's my favorite. And we also got a chance to meet Woody and Bo Peep. And they have Buzz positioned somewhere else and Jessie somewhere else by themselves. Not together, by themselves. And they have Woody and Bo Peep together. So it was so great and was so excited. I wasn't sure how she was going to react to Woody and Bo, but she was so excited. And when we went to meet them and was dressed up kind of like Jessie, the dress she was wearing was kind of like Jessie. If I didn't post a picture on my Instagram, I will post one so you guys can see it. She looks so cute. And Woody saw her dress and was like, oh my gosh, the look that that he portrayed was, oh my gosh. And he did kind of like Jesse's little cowgirl dance. And it was super cute. And it's such a great experience. I highly recommend it. The line to meet them is always super duper long. I went in to ride Toy Story Mania. Will and Em got in line to meet Woody and Bo. By the time I got out of the ride, they were almost at the front of the line. I jumped into line with them, and I know people don't like that. But it's like, I wasn't getting my picture taken with them. I was just hopping in line with my husband and daughter. And then, there was like one family ahead of us, and they stopped us, and they were like, okay, they're going to go take a break. They'll be back in 5 minutes. So even then, we still had to wait a little bit longer. But we got to meet them and was so excited. I believe they signed her book. I'd have to double check, but they signed her book. I know that Buzz does not sign books. He has a stamp. Not sure about Jesse because we've never met Jesse. But it was great. I have a great picture for them to put in Em's book. So I'm super excited about that. She got to meet them. So yeah, Toy Story Land is always a huge, huge hit with us. Besides that, there's some great shows, obviously, in Hollywood Studios. They have some great shows there. The Little Mermaid, Em always loves. Frozen. The Frozen sing-along is always a big hit. We love it. They're just... the Arendelle historians, we'll call them, are Eric and Aria? I can't remember. They are always a huge hit. They're so funny. And even, the kids love it because they love Frozen and they love singing the songs, but the adults love it for them because they're hilarious. And they just get better and better every time I see it. So I always recommend that one. There was another new show. The last time we were there, they had closed down the Disney Junior show, and they were starting up the Disney Junior Dance Party, and we saw the Disney Junior Dance Party tour. So Em was really, really, really excited about seeing the Disney Junior Dance Party. And after we were done seeing it, Em, I think, was disappointed because it was so short. And I had to explain to her that, we saw the tour and it was much longer, but they have to make it shorter in the parks so that way more people can see it. And she was like, oh, okay. So, but I could tell she was disappointed, so I was kind of sad about that. Another show that was not a big hit with us is the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Now, this show is a great show, and it's very nostalgic. My husband and I both love this show. Emily does not like this show. And we walked into it, and Em was hesitant from the get-go. And we're like, no, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And, trying to talk it up to her. But she was like, no, I don't really want to see this. But we were trying to reassure her. And we got through, the whole beginning where they're choosing people from the audience. And the show starts. And everything, if you've never been to this show, it gets loud. And it's supposed to be. They make the sound effects super loud, so it's very dramatic, and Em could not handle it. And Em does not like loud noises. And I'm not sure if it's because her ears are just more sensitive because of Em has tubes in her ears. From when she was little and getting ear infections, she had to get tubes. And I don't know if that just makes her hearing more sensitive. So she, as soon as they started making, loud noises, gunshots, things blowing up, all this kind of stuff, she could not handle it. And she was in my husband's lap crying. And I had never seen her like this. And she did not want to be there. She was really upset. And I turned to my husband. I was like, should we just go? And he was like, no, we're going to stay. It's going to be fine. And she just did not settle down. So after another minute of her bawling, I looked at him and I was like, we can't do this the whole time. She can't sit here and cry through this whole thing. And I looked at her and I go, Em, do you want to go? And she said yes. And I was prepared to take her myself and just go. But I looked at him and I go, do you want to go? And he's like, yeah. So we just made the executive decision to just leave. It's not like we had never seen the show before. So So that's a no. And I said to Emma, I was like, you know what? We are not going to make a fast pass for Indiana Jones anymore because I know that you don't like this. Maybe in time you will grow to like it, but as of right now, it's a no-go for our family. So unfortunately, next time we go to Disney, we will not be seeing the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. So yeah, so there you have it. Those were our park days. And seeing how long I've been talking your ear off about my Disney trip, before I end this podcast, I do want to talk about dining. So, like I said, we do the deluxe dining plan, and that means lots and lots of sit down for us. And obviously, like I said, this time we did at least 2 meals a day where we were sitting down, and I just want to talk briefly. We hit a lot of the places that we usually do and tried a couple of new places and did some, I'm going to give that another chance, I guess we'll say. And one thing that you may not know, and I think I've talked about it before, but if you haven't heard it, one thing that we do is we dine at resorts some days, whether it's a dinner or it's a breakfast. We do dining at resorts. We tried, at our resort, we dined at all 3 of the different restaurants. The Mara, which is quick serve, was great. We liked it. It was, good for what it is. It's a quick serve. It was good for Em because they had chicken nuggets and she loves it. We ate at Jico, and I would have to say Jico was good. I liked the food. My husband liked the food. Unless we stay there, we would probably never eat there again. They did not really have much in the way for Em to eat. And having a picky eater, you gotta plan places that your kid is gonna eat. And I know a lot of people say, oh, just put food in front of her. If she's hungry, she'll eat. My kid is not like that. My kid is the kind that will just not eat. Even if she's hungry, she won't eat. And she ate a little bit. They had broccolini, and she ate that. But we ordered her mac and cheese, and they put in front of her orecchiette pasta with what looked like Alfredo sauce. It didn't look like macaroni and cheese. Even if you're doing, rotini pasta with a cheese sauce, that looks more like, macaroni and cheese than this did. And I looked at it and went, oh God, she's not going to eat that. But my food was delicious, and so was my husband's. The food there is really, really good. But I wouldn't necessarily bring a kid there. So, yeah, especially if you have a picky eater. But we do eat at resorts a lot. 1900 Park Fair is one of our favorites. We love eating at Ohana. And I definitely recommend doing that, adding that to your repertoire. It's worth it. Get up a little bit earlier, or don't plan an early day at the parks. Definitely go and do it. We definitely do. If you're going to be at Magic Kingdom, go to one of the resorts that are on, the monorail. Just jump on the monorail. And when you do that, when you're going to the monorail from the resort, you go through their security there. So that way you don't have to go through security once you get to Magic Kingdom. So it's really great. So we definitely eat at the resorts a bunch, but in park, let's start at Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom, we ate at all the usual places that we usually eat. We didn't try any place new. We did, however, get a dinner dining reservation at Be Our Guest, and we've never done that before. So we were really, really, really excited about that. So for Magic Kingdom, I'm just going to pretty much talk about that. We ate at Crystal Palace, which we've done before and loved. We ate at did I say Crystal Palace? We ate at Crystal Palace, which we love. We ate at Cinderella's Royal Table, which we love. But I'm going to talk about Be Our Guest for my Magic Kingdom. We've eaten there before. We've done breakfast and lunch. But this time, we scored the coveted dinner reservation at Be Our Guest. And it's the best out of the 3 meals that you can eat there. So we were super excited about it. The food was so good. And Em actually ate the macaroni and cheese there, which was great. We were hesitant. We didn't know if she would do it, but she did it, and it was great. And when they sat us, there are 3 different rooms to be our guest. There's the gallery and the ballroom and the West Wing. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh God, where are we going to sit? And the West Wing is dark, and there's thunder, a little bit of thunder. And when we got in there, they're like, oh, you're going to be sitting in the West Wing. And I'm sitting there like, oh no, she's not going to want to sit here. But they sat us in there, and she loved it. They sat us down, and Em wanted to get up and walk around and check everything out. And that's what we did. We walked around, we checked out the West Wing, we went into the ballroom. We didn't go into the gallery, but she wanted to go check out one of the best parts of Be Our Guest Dinner, the meet and greet with the Beast. And she wanted to go check him out. She wanted to see what he looked like, see how big he was, see if he looked scary, to see if she actually wanted to meet him. So I said to her, I was like, okay. So we walked over to the area, and one of the cast members that was there saw us, and she's like, oh, if you want to get in line. And I said to her, I was like, we just sat down for our meal, and she wanted to come check him out a little bit. We're going to come back afterwards and meet him. And she let us kind of sneak over to the side so Em could watch and see what he was all about. So we did that. Then we went, we had our meal. The food was delicious. I can't say enough about how good the food was. Em ate, so that's always a plus. It was just so good. And I highly recommend it. If you can get a dining reservation there, definitely do it. It was so good. It's a signature, so it's 2 credits. So just be prepared. And then after we were done eating, we went over and we got in line to meet the Beast. And Em said she didn't want to meet him. And I thought she was just nervous because the Beast is big. He's like bigger than Goofy. And he's hairy. I mean, he's the Beast. So we didn't know what to expect before we got to Be Our Guest, what he would be like. But in no way does he look scary. I don't think he looks scary. But Em was like, nope, don't want to meet him. Don't want to meet him. Don't want to meet him. But my husband and I just thought she was just being nervous because she'd never met him before. It wasn't until afterwards that she said to me, and she had me be in the pictures with her. She would not go up to him unless I was with her. So I went with her. We both stood there and got our picture taken. She gave him a high five. We did a group hug, even though looking at the pictures now, she hugged me, not him. But she told us afterwards, I really did not want to meet him, and you made me do it. And I felt, in that moment, I felt like the worst parent in the world. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my gosh, Em. I was like, I'm so sorry that we really didn't listen to you and just walk away from it. And I said to her, I was like, next time we won't meet him. We won't go say hi to the Beast. And she said, okay. And I felt horrible. I felt absolutely horrible that we made her do it. And she was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, Be Our Guest was awesome. The Beast, I will warn parents ahead of time. He's big. He's big. If you have kids that are scared of characters, you may want to skip him. He doesn't look scary to me, but Em was like, no. So, and she's 5. So, yeah. So, if your kids don't like characters, just skip him. The food is absolutely delicious at Be Our Guest. Definitely go for the food. Definitely go for the atmosphere. It's absolutely wonderful. But don't meet the Beast if your kids don't like characters, if they get scared. So, let's move on to Epcot. So our favorites, and we tried some new restaurants while we were in Epcot the 2 days that we were there. Akershus, we always eat there. It's in Norway. They have it's a character dining, so we got to meet princesses. And they were absolutely wonderful. So they always are. And that's always a plus for us. The food was really great. I tried, I think I got the chicken dish that they had there, and it was so good. And we love it there. We always do akershus. You know, we go, and Em and my husband and my stepmother was with us at this point of the trip, and the three of them rode the Frozen ride. My stepmother's first time. Em and Will always ride it when we go, and of course loved that. They loved that, and then we always head over and go to Akershus for lunch because it's right there. And Em loves to meet princesses, so we did that. It's always something we do. And I know that day we had dinner at a new place, Restaurant Marrakesh over in Morocco, and it was so good. The food was delicious. I highly recommend it. They have a dancer there, a belly dancer, and she brings the kids out and they can dance. Em didn't want to go, but they all dance with her. It was really cute. I loved it. The food was delicious. So I highly recommend going there if you're looking for a place in the World Showcase to eat. I think, you know, for Epcot, we made another new reservation, and that was at in Mexico, the San Angel Inn. And I was really looking forward to it because I love Mexican food. So I was really looking forward to it. The food was good. But I have to say, the fact that it's so dark was kind of like, for us. And the kids' food, while it was good, it wasn't exactly what Em was expecting. We had asked for a fruit cup, and she didn't really eat any of it. You know, it just wasn't what we were expecting. I didn't like that it was so dark. That was kind of a turnoff for me. The tables are really close together. It was good, but I don't think I would ever eat there again. So that's just my opinion. So let's head over to Animal Kingdom. We didn't eat anywhere new. We had breakfast at Tusker House, which was a first for there. Food was delicious, like it always is. And then we had dinner at Yak and Yeti. So the good for those two places, food is always good. With Yak and Yeti, I will say that the kids' chicken fingers, now those are like a tempura, I believe. You know, Em wasn't a fan of the chicken fingers, and Em always eats chicken fingers. But she wasn't a fan, so we ended up having to get her another meal. And, you know, she ate like a bite of it, and she was like, no, I'm not eating this. So we asked the waiter, could you bring us some mac and cheese instead? Bring us over mac and cheese, and it was Kraft macaroni and cheese. Oh my gosh, was I thrilled. So she ate the macaroni and cheese. She did great. She did great with the sides and everything. So that was good. But then we got the check and they charged us for another meal. And I don't know if, having worked in the food industry, if a family had come to me and said, my kid ate one bite of this and said, no, I don't want this. Is there any way you can make us something else? Can we please get this? I wouldn't have charged them for 2 meals. I would have been like, your kid barely ate that or had one bite. Why am I going to charge you for something that your kid didn't eat? And we got charged for 2 meals, and that just kind of put me off. I wasn't a fan of that. And I love Yak and Yeti. I love, love, love them. So the fact that that happened kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. But will I go back? Of course. I love Yak and Yeti. My food was delicious. My husband's food was delicious. There was some stuff off with the wait staff. I don't know if our server was just like he was stretched too thin or what. But yeah, we ordered our food and they brought our meals to us before we got our appetizers. And my husband and I were like, that's what we ordered for dinner, but we haven't had our appetizers yet. And they were like, oh. And they walked away with the food. And having had history in the food service industry, my husband looks at me and says, I really hope they don't put those underneath the warmers and have them sit there. And I don't know that they did, but looking at mine, it didn't look as fresh as when they first brought it. So will we go back to Yak and Yeti? Obviously. We love it there. It is our favorite restaurant in Animal Kingdom. So we always go. Tusker House, if you had to judge what was what was better, Tusker House or Yak and Yeti this time, I would say Tusker. And usually I always say Yak and Yeti, but Tusker was better this time. So in Hollywood Studios, we ate at Hollywood and Vine. We always do the Disney Junior breakfast because Em loves the characters. She's a big Disney Junior fan. And this time, they had a new character for Emily. They had Fancy Nancy. And one of Emily's best friends had met Nancy when she went, so we were super excited. And Em got a Fancy Nancy dress for her birthday, and she showed it off to Nancy, and Nancy was super excited. It was so cute, and was so excited to see Nancy, and all of the characters loved her dress. Vampirina loved it, Doc loved it, so it was really exciting for Em to meet Fancy Nancy. She was so excited. I can't say enough how excited she was to meet Fancy Nancy, and to see the excitement on Em's face made the dining experience so much more for me and for my husband. And the food there is always super great. I think it's the only breakfast buffet that has chocolate syrup. I could be very wrong about that. If I'm wrong, let me know. Has chocolate syrup for their waffles. So Em was really excited about that, dipping her waffles in chocolate. She always eats really good at the breakfasts, and she ate really good there. And then for dinner, one night we tried the Hollywood Brown Derby. Now, we ate there the first time we went with Emily. She was a baby, but we ate there, and we did not like it. We were not fans. And I don't know if that was just the way that we were that day, but we decided to try it again. And I have to say the food was great. I liked it. The menu, we definitely noticed, was a whole lot smaller than the first time we went. So I don't know what that was about, but the food was great. We loved it. And I definitely think we would go back again. I definitely think we would. And my husband can correct me, but I definitely think we would go back again. So that, in a nutshell, is the dining that we had in our last Disney trip in a nutshell. I could go into every restaurant we had, but I won't do that to you. So all in all, we had an amazing trip. It was so worth every penny we spent, and I would highly recommend a lot of the things that we did. So that was our trip, and I will stop rambling on and on about it. I could go on for hours, but I will stop rambling. So there you go. Amazing trip to Disney. Disney trip 2020 brought to a close. Fond memories. Had a great time. I'm going to be counting down the days till our next Disney trip. We don't have another one planned yet. We don't have a date or anything. But once we do, I'll let you guys know. So there you go. So that's it for this episode of the Disney Life Happy Wife podcast. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen. Hopefully it made your day a little bit better. So thank you. I can't say that enough. I appreciate you guys listening so much and taking the time to listen to this podcast. Where can you find me on social media? Everywhere. No, I'm kidding. So on Facebook and Instagram, you can find me at Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast. All one word. It's a big one. Disney Life Happy Wife Podcast. On Twitter, you can find me at DLHW Podcast. And you can email me if you have any questions, comments, concerns. DM me on any social media and email me at it is dlhwpodcast@gmail.com. That's the new podcast email, dlhwpodcast@gmail.com. So feel free to send me a message, whether you have a comment, concern, there's something you want me to talk about on the podcast, just let me know. And where can you listen besides where you're listening right now? You can listen on my blog, manysidesofmom.com, on Buzzsprout, Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. So pretty much anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to me. So head on over and listen, subscribe, give me a rating. Let me know what you think. I definitely love getting reviews, so let me know what you think. And, I love criticism. I say that now, but I love getting reviews, so let me know what you think, what you liked, what you didn't, and all of that kind of stuff. So thank you again. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I will be back with you with a brand new episode next Wednesday. So I will see you next Wednesday, everybody.